Leave to appeal the High Court judgment which forces him to institute a commission of inquiry into the allegations of state capture. The intention for leave to appeal includes 20 grounds on which the President believes the appeal should be heard. This includes the claim that the court erred in agreeing that the Chief Justice should have power to appoint the commission of inquiry. Last week, Judge Dunstan Mlambo ruled that State President Zuma was ill-advised and reckless in challenging the remedial action of the public protector. Well, joining me in studio now is our political reporter, Noma Bolani, to talk a bit more about this. Noma, welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Natasha.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I don't think this comes as too much of a surprise. I think we knew this was coming. But let's start by just take us through some of the court papers that President Zuma has filed.
Yes, there are actually 20 grounds in this motion why he should actually be granted a leave to appeal. He starts off by saying that, the court erred in saying that he should be personally liable for the costs of the cases, saying that actually the matter puts him as the state president and it shouldn't be personal. And he moves on to say that there are other errors that the court made, especially where he speaks about the fact that there's executive powers given to him, and it shouldn't be that the Constitutional Court Justice or the Chief Justice should be the one who has power to institute the judge. He's saying that he's not too conflicted, even though the High Court is saying that they agree with the public protector, saying that he's too conflicted to appoint this commission of inquiry. What is very, very conflicting in these papers, that even in Parliament he spoke about he will do it, but now he's saying in these papers that actually the executive Members Ethics Act is saying that the investigation must be done by the Public Protector's Office and not the Commission of Inquiry.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a huge judgment from Dunstan Mlambo, but on several occasions the President said in Parliament that he will appoint a Commission of Inquiry, but the only contention has been now how the chair will be appointed, which you've touched on. So why this about turn now?
I think when we spoke to the DA, I think it plays to that part of you can't be the judge and the jury, and you can't be the judge or choose the judge in a matter that involves yourself. And the political parties, the opposition is saying it's just a delaying tactic for him to file these papers, because I think it's an issue of if it doesn't get to the port of inquiry, then the investigation won't happen. But the President's saying that actually I'm bound by the Ethics Act to act properly, and I won't find myself conflicted. All I'm going to do is appoint the judge, have the Commission of Inquiry, but I won't determine the scope of the investigation. I won't have the powers to say investigate here, investigate there, or don't investigate at all. So he's saying that actually give me the responsibility and I will do it accordingly.
And then the ruling party has also emphasized that he must speed up the process of appointing this commission. So how does this impact on the ANC's determination for this matter to be speedily dealt with? And we heard the new party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, speaking quite outright about dealing with corruption and must be dealt with now. So how do things work for them now?
I think for the ANC it's important to have the state capture issue wrapped up before 2019, before the campaign, because I think it's a big negative impact on their campaigning. A lot of people saying if it's not dealt with, if the President Zuma allegations are not dealt with, if there's no probe, it's going to negatively impact them. We saw last year for the local government elections that people are voting away from the ANC. We saw that 3 metros were lost. Nelson Mandela Bay, we have Johannesburg and Tshwane lost because people are not saying we no longer have confidence, it seems, unless people are given the idea that this is going to be dealt with. And the fact that the new president of the ANC is saying we're going to deal with it decisively and probably promptly, it might help them if they actually wrap up especially the state capture report.
Yeah. So what are the next sort of steps? What's the timeline now, and when can we expect some finality on the matter? I know you say that it needs to start happening before 2019. So what's our timeline?
I think it's very difficult to say what the timeline will be, because if, let's say, the High Court in Pretoria says, no, we're not granting you this application, then it might move to the Supreme Court in Bloem. let's say that's not successful either, then you have to move to the Constitutional Court, because you do know that the political parties are going to oppose this application. I spoke to the DA's himself saying, obviously they're not surprised, they are appalled by this application, but they're not surprised. But most definitely they will oppose it, saying that, you know, it's in the interest of the people of South Africa to know exactly what is state capture and how it's affecting South Africa, especially on its economy.
Yeah. Any other reaction? You say you've spoken to the DA?
Yes, we spoke to the EFF as well, and they had some very harsh words saying that what President Jacob Zuma is trying to do is undermine the process of this investigation, to undermine the fact that somebody needs to investigate him. They're saying that, though, they have confidence in our courts that this will be thrown out, and that you know, the rule of law will be implemented, and that there won't be anyone to sway it.
Is there anything to it that he waited till after the conference, or is that it, you know, in itself says enough?
I think so.
Okay, Noma, I'll leave it there. Noma Bolani, thank you so much, our political reporter, going through just some of the reaction and some of the analysis to that story that's come through in the last hour or so, that the President will be seeking leave to appeal a High Court judgment which forces him to institute a commission of inquiry into the allegations of state capture.